Hey guys, I had a request to do a video on my top 5 spring baits, but I break down the spring into 4 different categories. I have the pre-spawn, the pre-spawn, the spawn, and then the post-spawn. And I've already done videos on the first two, so we'll do my top 5 for the spawn. Number one, this is for if I'm in a lake where I can't physically see the beds because of the water clarity or the chop on the water or the depth that the fish spawn at, whatever the case may be. I like fishing a swim bait. And up by me, the main fish that's going to be attacking these bass eggs are going to be perch or bluegill. So I'm going to try to imitate them. But throwing a swim bait is a great way to cover like a large flat where I can just fan cast and try to run into those beds and get a strike. But you can fish these with a jig head, with an open jig head if there's not a lot of vegetation. You can even have these things be weedless with one of those belly weighted hooks, or put it on the back of a chatterbait. If the water's a little dirty, you can put it on. You can take the skirt off a chatterbait and put it on the back of a chatterbait. That works pretty good for covering water and finding beds when you can't physically see them. Number two would be for that same situation where I'm trying to find beds without physically seeing them, and that's going to be a swim jig. I only throw 3 different sizes of swim jigs. I throw a quarter, a 3/8, and a ½ ounce. But this time of the year, I'm going to try to imitate a bluegill because that's what I feel that up here in New York, that's what's going to be attacking these beds the most. And so if it's really dirty water, if it's low light conditions, I'll throw the black and blue. If the sun gets up, I'll start throwing just a bluegill color swim jig. 3 for me would be something I can physically flip into a bed, and it's kind of tricky. There's a lot of baits that'll work. I like either a Texas Rig Super Speed Crawl, which has a little bigger profile to it. I like the Zoom Super Speed Crawl because it does have that bigger profile, a more aggressive profile. And Texas Rig, I can fish it. I don't really have a lot of hard bottom lakes around here, so most of my stuff's kind of tailored to being weedless. But if you're not getting bit on the Zoom Super Speed Crawl and you're thinking it might be because it's a little too bulky, you could switch to the Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Crawl, which is a little slender, more slender profile. And sometimes a change like that is what gets them to fire on it. Maybe they're just not into those big baits that day. But so just experiment with your flipping baits, and really that's what it all boils down to, is that you want to have some kind of soft plastic to flip onto those beds and work that bed to try to trigger that fish, trigger that strike. 4 for me, and this, I don't know if this works this well all over the country, but the Zoom lizards, or like a baby brush hog. Lizards work great up here on beds. It just looks natural. And it's another one of those baits you can flip in onto the bed. It just gives them a nice profile of something that's coming to attack their eggs. And same thing with the baby brush hogs. Sometimes a lot of appendages flapping around triggers those fish, and sometimes it puts the fish off. So those creature style baits can definitely pay big dividends in the spawn. And lastly is just like a stickworm. I've told you guys a lot about how I love the Zoom fluke sticks, but these are great baits for the spawn too, to cast into those beds. Normally in the spawn, I'm not going to wacky rig them. Normally in the spawn, I'm going to either Texas rig them weightless, or I'll Texas rig them with like a 1/16 or an 1/8 ounce weight. So I can just drop it straight on that bed and bounce it straight through that bed. And really that's it. So for water I can't see beds, I'm going to be throwing the swim baits and the swim jigs. For bed fishing, I'm going to be throwing some kind of crawl bait some kind of creature bait, and then also my stickworms. But hope this stuff helps, guys. And like I said, this is just stuff that I found that works up north. This is my top 5 list. There might be things that work better in other parts of the country. There might be things that work better in hard bottom lakes. In hard bottom lakes, I'd probably throw a lot more jigs, like smaller jigs, or a large jig, depending on what they're tuned in on. But it's not wise for us up in muck bottom lakes with a lot of vegetation to throw jigs into the shallows, because you're just going to pull so many weeds up. So a lot of times I'm going to opt for the more weedless approach. But check back soon, guys. We'll try to keep cranking these videos out. If you have any questions, let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I appreciate it, and take